I think it's coming out of his pocket. It's not.
Can we hear it?
A hand has come out of the pocket, but not with anything in it. Well, they think it's very funny. This is very interesting. We're looking at the wallpaper. It's a kind of damask. There we go. It's out. It's out. There's the list.
Good evening, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank the officers of the 1922 Committee for their help, especially my two assistant returning officers, Dame Cheryl Gillen and Charles Walker. The result of the ballot held this evening is that the Parliamentary Party does have confidence. Does have confidence in Theresa May as leader of the Conservative Party. The number of votes cast in favour of having confidence in Theresa May was 200 and against was 117. Under the rules set out in the Constitution of the Conservative Party, no further confidence vote can take place for at least 12.
Numbers again, numbers. $200 for Theresa May, 117 for against her.
Well, that decides the issue of her leadership.
You've been seen off, Bernard Jenkins.
We wanted to give the party an opportunity to decide some very serious issues, and those issues are now on the table and are exactly the same as they were before today. And for 117 of my colleagues to express no confidence in the Prime Minister is quite a serious blow.
Well,
and it decides, we will all pledge our leadership to her, our loyalty to her, and wish her well. But the message is she's got to bring back a very, very substantial change in the deal in order that it gets through the House of Commons. And bear in mind, those improvements are not necessarily just for us. They're for her coalition partners as well. At the moment, she doesn't actually have the authority to govern in the House of Commons.
Simon Clarke, a resounding victory for the Prime Minister.
Well, I'm pleased for her, but the truth of the matter is as well, it does, as Bernard said, point to the fact there was a very substantial rebellion within the Tory ranks. The payroll vote is in the region of 140, so a clear majority of Conservative backbenchers did not vote confidence this evening, and that is a mark of real concern.
Let's cut to the quick. This occurred because of the deal she offered to the House. The House have not punished her for the deal. The House has, in fact, kept her as their Prime Minister. They clearly do see her as the agent of that deal, and that deal must go through.
I don't think that's right. I mean, the truth of the matter is, obviously, the deal will be revised. That was something that she talked about at length in the 22, and I really do sincerely hope that she is capable of bringing about the legally binding changes which are required. She was emphatic it will need to be more than just words.
You can't have legally bound changes unless you reopen the negotiations.
Well, that was the question I asked.
There are no renegotiations possible. Europe has said no.
Well, let's deal with what comes about rather than hypotheticals. But it has to be said, unless there are substantive legal changes to this deal, then I think it's very unlikely we'll win support from either myself or a significant number of Conservative backbenchers.
Bernard, very briefly.
Well, part of the problem here is those of us that have been agitating for a clear Brexit, we represent the 52%, the majority of the population. Most of the Commons voted Remain. They don't represent the majority of this country, and there's been this constant tension between how the people voted and what the politicians want. And we're not going to let the politicians steal the result of the referendum from the British people.
Bernard Jenkins,
Thank
Simon
you very
Clark,
much.
thank you both very warmly. Krishnan, there you are in the lobby.
Thank you,
Hey,
John.
presto.
Well, with me, Michael Crick and James Heapy, Conservative MP. Michael, just what does it mean? It's a pretty big vote and no abstentions.
Well, I suspect it's enough for Theresa May to stay on, but it is not a good result. The magic thing is she's reached that 200 mark, which is incidentally one vote more than she got in the last ballot in the Conservative leadership election 2 years ago when she got 199. But
So she's more popular than she was.
That's right. But then, of course, she's got the payroll vote and all the jobs that she's given out and so on. Percentage-wise, it's interesting, 63%. So more than a third of the party have voted against her. Margaret Thatcher stood down in 1990 when she only got 57%. So there's the comparison there. On the other hand, John Major, he got a bit more, and he got 66%. So 63%, only 200 MPs. It's probably enough to stay, but it's not a good result.
James Heapy, where does this leave your party? Totally divided, total mess.
In a world where 52-48 qualifies as absolute victory, 67% seems like an absolutely barnstorming result. I think the Prime Minister has been...
I mean, this is a shameful day for your party, though, isn't it? It's embarrassing.
I would agree, absolutely.
Awful and, you know...
Christian, on that we agree absolutely. I cannot believe that colleagues saw merit in asking the parliamentary party to do what has been done today. But we voted, the Prime Minister's got a result, and just as those who are members of the ERG have been saying to us that we must respect the result of the vote from 2 years ago, I hope that they will now respect the result of this vote and that they will find a way of rallying around her so that we can move the whole Brexit process forward.
63% for, apparently, and 37% against, as far as the numbers are concerned. I mean, isn't the truth, though, that yes, she survived today, but she still has all the same problems, all the same parliamentary arithmetic, and she's been a little bit humiliated. I mean, winning tonight does not leave her boosted, it still leaves her damaged, because she's had open rebellion.
I'm not sure that you guys have seen anything from the result tonight that you weren't expecting, so I'm not sure that her position tonight
but when
is
she
any
goes to
different
Europe...
from the, well, maybe, but that was the folly of the decision that the ERG and those that support them took in triggering this leadership election. But look, it's been done, the result has been had, and everybody surely knows, it was clear in the 22 meeting earlier on, that the only route forward from now is everybody stays in their trenches, nothing changes. And if people are willing to now get out of their trenches, respect the result of the vote that's been had tonight, and actually try to find a common position around which we can all rally, then there's a route forward. If that doesn't happen, then this could be the first of a series of confidence votes, and the country will look on in utter dismay whilst we, frankly, let ourselves and our party down.
Although officially there can't be another Conservative Party confidence vote for another year now. So that is a gain for Theresa May. And we've had all this speculation for more than a year that there was going to be one of these confidence votes. It's now happened. It's now off the agenda for a year. When it comes to negotiating in Europe, sure, on the one hand, the people she's negotiating with will know that that she is sort of secure. On the other hand, they'll also be aware that more than a third of her parliamentary party have no confidence in her, and that will make them ask, well, is there any point in negotiating when she has lost so much of her party?
Just in a brief sentence, we've got to go. But I mean, are we closer, do you think, to another referendum?
I don't think so, because I think the parliamentary process that stands between tonight and a referendum is so enormous, and it took 348 days to get the EU withdrawal bill through this place. If you think a bill for a referendum would be any less contentious, then I think you're in cloud cuckoo land. But I do think tonight changes one key thing. The DUP can no longer assume that we're going to change our leader, and that, I think, makes for some very interesting conversations between the PM and the DUP in the days ahead.
Thank you both very much. John.
Thank you very much indeed, Krishnan. And I'm joined for our final pairing of the evening by the Solicitor General, Robert Buckland, and indeed from Anna Soubry, Anna Karenina, as I rudely suggested.
I wasn't. I think it's a compliment, actually.
We're delighted to see you.
I'm
not delighted. Now, listen, let's just make sense of this. 63% she got. Is that a ringing endorsement?
No.
Robert Buckland?
Look, she's done well, but she... It's not brilliant.
Oh,
Let's be clear.
It's near to 2-1. I think it's a very clear endorsement. It's about the same vote that she got when she won the leadership, and we all said that was a pretty ringing endorsement. So I think she should be satisfied tonight that she's headed this off, and now she can get on with the job.
Look, she's seen off this ghastly bunch of right-wingers who have plagued the Conservative Party for far too long. I just want a leader that will actually sort these people out once and for good, boot them out of our party so we can be a proper centrist, sensible party. That's a long time away, I concede. But in the circumstances in which we are in, she should have done better. What Theresa now needs to do, because there are clearly people who have nothing to do with the ERG who have voted against this backdrop, that they don't have confidence in her. She's got to change tack. She's all well and good saying she listens to people. She's got to act on it. She's got to move considerably now, and she's got to bring this vote back. She'll lose it, but then she's got to come up with her plan B. And you know my views on what that is. It has to be that people's vote. There's no other way out of this. Nobody has a plan B, not even my good dear friend Robert Buckland. What will happen when she loses, as she will, again with the withdrawal agreement?
How much of that do you agree with, Robert Buckland?
I'm not in favour of a second referendum. It's time for Parliament to get on with the job. This is about representative government actually doing the job and fulfilling what was an exercise in direct democracy. It's for politicians of all colours to actually realise that the trust that's been placed in them and come together and get a deal for the country quickly.
But people have pleaded tonight for you lot to come together.
Well, many of us are together. Where we disagree is what do we now do? Because with much respect to my dear friend here, there is not going to be a majority for Theresa's deal. She can't renegotiate it. What is their plan B, with great respect? There isn't one. Get it back to the British people. It's the only way to solve this. Let us sell her deal. Let us make our case again about the positive side, the best deal, which is a membership of the European Union.
I think the British people want Parliament to do the job that we're paid to do and get on with it, and that's what the Prime Minister's had tonight.
Do you leave the proceedings tonight optimistically or a little gloomily?
I think I'm realistic that it's still quite a challenge, but...
optimistically or gloomily?
I just think that plan B is the only way forward, and it's the people's vote, and it's gone from the fringes right to the heart of the solution.
Thank you both very warmly, Robert Buckland, Anna Soubry.
Even though it's very cold.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. So tonight's news. Theresa May wins her no confidence vote. She needed to secure at least 159 votes. Now, the result declared a few minutes ago gave the Prime Minister 200 votes for her and 117 votes against her. This was how the result was announced by Graham Brady, chairman of the Conservative Backbench 1922 committee, a few moments ago.
The number of votes cast in favour of having confidence in Theresa May was 200 and against was 117. Under the rules set out in the constitution of the Conservative Party, no further confidence vote can take place for at least 12 months.
Well, what a night. Only the coming days will tell us what it has told us and where it will lead us. But that is it from us.